afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this episode of MSME Masterclass. Today, we are diving into a subject that's becoming a critical mission for MSMEs: warehouse management. And to lead us through this session, we're joined by someone who's been at the helm of logistics transformation for more than 2 decades. Please join me in welcoming Harshad Kale, the Managing Director and Operations Head at KGC Logistics. With 25 plus years of experience in logistics and supply chain strategy, particularly in automotive sector, Harshad has worked with marquee names such as Mercedes-Benz, Tata Motors, Jeep, Honeywell, and Exide. Under his leadership, KGC has evolved into a tech-driven integrated logistics powerhouse. What makes him the perfect guide for today's conversation is his deep understanding of how warehousing, often seen as a back-end function, can become a strategic growth driver for MSMEs. From infrastructure design to storage optimization and technology adoption, his insights are rooted in real execution and scalable models. Whether you're building your first warehouse or looking to turn into your current setup into a competitive advantage, you will want to tune in closely. Welcome back to our MSME Masterclass, Harshad. We're thrilled to have you with us.
It's a pleasure being here.
Harshad, we'll quickly jump on to our questions. To set the stage, could you explain to our attendees how MSMEs should rethink warehousing as more than just a storage function?
Well, that should start by, MSME should view warehousing as a value creation hub, not just as a storage place. By that, I mean not just as a cost center. So viewing it as a value creation hub, how? By faster order fulfillment, by lowering your inventory costs, and by improving the customer service levels. So once we do that, we don't just look at it as a place for keeping our goods. We look at the place as a place or a hub for creating value. And that's the starting point should be the starting point for all MSMEs.
And in your experience, Harshad, what makes a warehouse a strategic asset rather than a cost center?
Well, traditionally, most MSMEs traditionally view a warehouse as an operational expense, a place where goods are stored, staff is deployed, you have to pay rent. But in modern supply chains, a warehouse can become a strategic asset by becoming a hub for creating value. So by that way, it directly contributes to revenues, it directly contributes to increasing the customer satisfaction, and of course, directly contributes to increasing the competitiveness of that MSME. And, such a strategic asset, once it becomes a strategic asset for you, it will help you to shorten your lead times. It will help you in your accuracy on-time deliveries. It will help you in your higher fill rates. It will help you with better inventory and, processing your orders faster. It will help you with your on-time dispatch performances. It will lower your inventory costs, by if you use the demand-driven inventory tools, and it will enhance your supply chain visibility. And most importantly, I feel for MSMEs is that a warehouse as turning it into a strategic asset will help you increase your footprint. It will help you grow in new places. It will help you expand into new regions.
And can you, Harshad, for the sake of our attendees, also share a real-world example where better warehouse planning directly impacted the business growth?
Well, I can do it the opposite way. I can give you a real world example of how an inefficient warehouse directly impacted the growth in a negative way for one of our customers. It's a pump company in Gujarat. I will not name them, but they had a very high growth potential. They were growing, but their warehouse was becoming their biggest bottleneck, and they were unable to service their customers, and their customer confidence was falling day by day. So here was a place which was a huge cost center with huge inventory, but it was not adding any value to the business. It was a strategic asset for them, primarily because when they started with the warehouse, management did not focus. It was not a focus of the management initially, But as their business grew, instead of becoming an enabler for the business, the warehouse, it became a bottleneck. So because primarily there was no standardization in systems. In fact, there were no systems. There was all manual work involved. And it was very heavily reliant on very archaic and old processes. So finally they came around and they met us. So first thing we did for them was that we moved them from the existing location, which was grossly inadequate for their needs. It was a very small place. It was not enough for them. And then we, of course, introduced simple automation. We brought in systems. We standardized the processes. We got in a basic WMS. We barcoded, labeled everything. We put an OH crane and we gave them a conveyor to move, because the kind of the product they had, it was very high volume and heavy boxes. So we brought in a conveyor to move the boxes from their racking system to their loading area. All this really turned around the whole scene. Within the first month, their order fulfillment went to 100% same day. Initially, it was 4 to 5 days. So since placing the order, the warehouse could process it only after 4 to 5 days. Now within the first month, we went on the same day order fulfillment. And of course, their dispatches and returns, their returns reduced by almost 80-90%. So that meant lower cost of processing the returns and replenishments. And in the meanwhile, luckily, it was not anticipated, but the customer got a huge export order, a one-time export order. And even that was like handled and fulfilled without any hiccups. So by third month, we introduced a repair workshop in the warehouse itself. We allocated an area where the company technicians would repair the pumps that would come in for, either for modifications or if they were defective, and they would be dispatched immediately for them. So what happened was the warehouse suddenly, became synchronized with the growth of the company, and it transformed from being a bottleneck to a growth enabler. And this is what better warehousing, a good warehousing can help MSMEs with.
Now tell us, how can manufacturers improve space utilization without immediately expanding their footprint?
MSME manufacturers you are mostly talking about. Yeah. So MSME space constraint is one of the biggest things for MSMEs. But I can tell you there is some good news or on the way, that there is a study which says that most of the MSMEs are actually utilizing only 60 to 70% of their available space. So most of the MSMEs are not utilizing their space effectively. There are various reasons for that. Basically, maybe it is because of layout inefficiencies, or maybe poor designs, or because of non-standard processes, whatever. So how can the MSMEs improve space utilization? The first thing that comes to my mind is, they should go vertical. They should make use of the vertical space available to them by installing taller racking or shelving systems, or, even have a mezzanine if required. Because basically, they should try to use as much space as possible, which is available to them. Second is, redesigning designing the layout. So it brings in, it reduces the congestion in the warehouse, and, excessive movement can be stopped. Applying 5S and lean principles in the warehouse. And most importantly, improving the inventory accuracy. A big reason for space constraint is that MSMEs are loaded with a lot of excessive stocking. So, improve the inventory accuracy, bring in, again, like I mentioned, lean principles. So switching to cycle counts, and, reducing the non-moving stocks. So an overall 360 degree, I would say, looking at it overall, will really help MSMEs utilize the available space with them. And if they can push that 60 to 70% utilization to 80 to 90 or more, I think it can happen with the available space that they have.
Because you mentioned about inventory accuracy, Harshad, and that being a common pain point for MSMEs, can we deep dive into this and understand what are a few practical steps for MSMEs to reduce the mismatch or loss?
Yes, it is a very common pain point in MSMEs. In fact, it's extremely common, the inventory mismatches, the inventory losses. So yeah, there are a few very easy practical steps that can be taken. Like I mentioned in my previous point, one is to implement cycle counting. So normally MSMEs go for annual stock checks, which would be a wall-to-wall stock check where you keep your business, you stop your business for a few days or maybe a week or a couple of weeks and do this annually. So what happens is, implementing a cycle count with small subsets. So you divide your parts into, I would say, high value parts, part category A, B, and C. and have a cycle count where all your expensive or your costly parts are counted every week, then the B category parts are counted every month, and maybe the C category parts on a quarterly basis. This will give you one, it will give you a good accuracy. And most importantly, it will identify the errors, the inventory errors before they become unmanageable. What happens is at the end of the year, when the error rate is unmanageable, it is very difficult to reconcile the inventory and keep your business going at the same time. So it is pushed ahead, it snowballs. So have the first suggestion I would give is to implement a cycle counting process. Now, second is, of course, standardizing your processes so that the inventory mismatches do not occur from at the operations level itself. So when you have good SOPs, good standardization of your inwarding, of your binning processes, if you are introducing your barcodes, and if you're going digital, so and of course the same for your picking and dispatches, ensuring that your high value parts are rechecked, recounted before they are moving out of the warehouse. So these standardizations will also help you reduce your inventory mismatches and the losses that you face because of that. And third, like it is linked with the previous point, you should go digital as much as possible, because manual work will of course bring in the errors associated with it, which is natural and common. And going digital, normally it does not mean that you have to invest in something very expensive, some very expensive system or some very expensive software. You can use simple off-the-shelf MSC solutions that are available. There are apps available which are like not very costly, and you can use simple scanners and barcode printers. In fact, you get a software which is free of cost along with these scanners and printers. So you can make use of them and try to go digital as much as possible to reduce the inventory errors. And most importantly, I would also say that most MSMEs I have seen tend to keep multiple data sources, multiple files, Excel files or manual files for, say, one file for inwarding, one file for dispatch, one file for inventory. And then a huge amount of time is spent in reconciling all this data and, putting it all together. So if you can use one data source, maybe one file or maybe one shared app, that will also help you, really help you in minimizing your inventory losses and mismatches.
Well, you just touched upon this, Harshad. Let's just go a little deeper into this. A lot of MSMEs are still, managing their warehouses manually, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
We just want to know from you, what is the best way to begin introducing some tech or semi-automation techniques?
Yeah, see, क्या होता है कि what happens is, the problem is when we talk about tech, when we talk about digitalization, suddenly we have this concept that it is going to be a very, very expensive process. And most of the MSCVs end up buying, these very expensive systems and not making full use of the same. But so when basically we think of automation, we think of something very expensive, something very fancy. It's not true at all. So I would say the first step towards digitalization or going using technology or automation, first step should be you fix your processes. You standardize your processes first, because without a standard process, no amount of automation or digitalization is going to help you. So you start with fixing your processes and stabilize the basics. Standardize the receiving, binning, picking. All these processes have to be standardized. Create simple workflows, and train the warehouse teams on these to ensure that the SOPs are followed without any exception. Now, if we are on the journey of tech or digitalization, we can use low cost but high impact automation, like say digital weighing scales, or we can bring in battery operated stackers to remove the manual workload, and maybe portable label printers. So, some not very costly, but it will create a big impact in your warehouse. And also, we should, or rather, MSCB should look at attacking the pain points in your digitalization journey first. So let's not try to reinvent the whole wheel. Rather, digitize the pain points, where the ROI is maximum. So I would say digitalize the GRN process, or digitalize the picking process with scanners. So this is how you start with one process, and then you add your automation processes one by one along with it. And you can also start, some very low cost applications. There are some low cost applications I can think of. One is Zoho Inventory. I think one is Inflow Inventory. Then I think there is Tally Prime, which is, the introduction point is as low as 2 or 3 thousand rupees a month. So, and they give you almost 70% of the features of a full-fledged, full feature WMS or an ERP. So, you can start with these small applications. And first and most important is you start barcoding or QR coding. The barcoding and QR coding is very important in your digital journey. Start doing that. Start barcoding your material, your boxes. You start barcoding your I would say the rack labels, and barcoding your locations. You and then you move gradually towards a feature heavy, I would say WMS or ERP as you grow. Or one more good option is to partner with companies like us, KGC Logistics, in your digitalization journey, where we can help you do it in a more gradual way.
Got it. Now, Harsha, we know that steel and cement heavy industries material handling is very, very critical. What tips can you share for managing heavy goods more safely and more efficiently?
Yeah, see, yeah, correct. In such industries, by nature, the loads are very heavy, and they're all not just heavy. They are irregular in shape and size, and they are abrasive. And any impact in terms of an accident or breakdown has catastrophic effects. So there are some ways to mitigate them, to counter them, to handle them carefully. I get the starting point for MSMEs involved in such loads, or with such heavy material, is to, I would say, plan the correct material flow. So the most ideal situation would be that the material is moving in a straight continuous flow. There are no bends, no corners, and most importantly, the material is not crisscrossing with each other. It should not happen that the inbound material is intersecting the material that is going out. So planning the correct material flow is the starting point, I would say. Then using the right equipment, because again we are talking about the equipment. Since the material is heavy, the parts are heavy. The MHEs which are going to be required are very high impact MHEs, or I would say high capacity MHEs are required. So the right MHEs with the right tonnage needs to be utilized. Let's not skimp on, say if we have to lift a 5 ton load, why go for a 3 ton forklift? Just a very basic example that I gave. So you should always have the right equipment, and you should ensure that the AMCs are in place for them. So see, these regular preventive measures will help you with almost zero breakdowns and zero equipment failures. Reduce the human exposure to human exposure to heavy loads. I have seen teams of 10 laborers struggle with the 200 kg pallet, picking it and putting it in box in the truck. So I think the not reduce, but the human exposure to heavy load should be completely eliminated. It is very practical in the long run. Sometimes MSMEs managements, they think it is cheaper by not going in for machines or MHEs, but in the long run it will really help you. And have again this point will keep repeating in most of my answers relating to warehouse, is to have a very standardized process, and have it especially true in warehouses which are handling very heavy loads. The standardization of processes and SOPs is very important, and there should be very heavy or strict penalties for people or operators who are bypassing these processes. Because all the more important, because these companies which are handling such material, the effects of an accident or a breakdown is catastrophic. It is very high compared to your generic material wear. So the SOPs have to be very clear, the standardization has to happen, and the penalties for not implementing the processes have to be very strict. And of course it comes with providing top class training to people, because in our industry handling heavy loads is a very specialized process. So, and then because the operators need a judgment of the weight, something something like even a center of gravity will play a knowledge, or the sensitivity towards it will play a big role in ensuring a regular accident free environment in the warehouse. So have very good training for these operators. So such industries, such companies should focus on training for their teams to handle the heavy, irregular size loads for them. So these are some of the steps that, some of the additional steps. Of course, these are the steps that any warehouse or any MSME should generally also take, but they become all the more critical and important when all your loads are like you said, in like cement or steel industry. All your loads, all your pallets are extremely heavy and irregular in shape and size.
Correct. Now, Harshad, in your experience, tell us what KPIs or daily checks should warehouse supervisors absolutely not skip?
Warehouse supervisors, well, in our warehouse, our supervisors have been given a list of 8 to 10 daily checks, and they are expected to send in the reports to the management at the end of every day. That is way, and they should absolutely not skip it. I'll just name some of them. One is your manpower availability and allocation checklist. So a warehouse supervisor or a warehouse manager must be on top of this, whether you have the sufficient manpower to handle your loads, and of course plan for it. So there is a checklist for it that he should not miss on a daily basis. Then there is a safety and compliance checklist, which becomes all the more important because more than 80% of the accidents happen because of not following the basics. And how do you ensure that everybody is following the basics is having a safety and compliance checklist. Small things like if the operators are wearing their PPEs, if there are any leakages, you can see in the material or somewhere. If there are any, there's so many. Each company will have a different set of points, but the safety and compliance checklist is something that is non-negotiable. It should not be skipped even on a single day. Then, of course, there are your process checklists, your process KPIs, which have to be monitored daily, whether you're processing your inwards, all your goods are being binned on time. If your order fulfillment rates, that is a KPI checklist that needs to be, you have to be on top of that, whether, your fulfillment rate is as committed to your customers, if that is happening. So those are the process checklists, the inventory checklists, whether your cycle counts are going on in as planned. The inventory mismatches are being worked on. So that is a checklist that needs to. So a warehouse manager should take that data from the inventory teams. So your process and inventory teams are also a part of your daily checklist. Your MHE checklist is also, especially if your warehouses have or your warehouse has a high number of MHEs, then what is the utilization, whether the TPM checklists on a daily basis have been filled, whether the AMC or the AMCs have been done as per schedule, whatever, if there are any non-working assets in your warehouse. So they should form a part of your daily checklist. Utilization is something which is very, very important. Utilization checklist. And then there are a couple of checklists which are related to the customer. I would say open task monitoring, some tasks which have been given by the customer, how many are open, because again what happens is if you keep it pending, say there are some gins that need to be closed because of some system error or some other error, they are kept open. There are some invoices which need to be rectified. So this open task checklist is also very critical, because if you keep them open for a long time, they will snowball into something which becomes unmanageable. So open task checklist, and similarly a customer checklist where he has assigned some tasks to you. There are some escalations, maybe some complaints, and have they been resolved? Have they been closed by either your supervisors or your team leaders? A warehouse manager should absolutely not miss this.
Now, a question that is commonly, asked across various MSME segments: how do we decide between owning a warehouse versus leasing a warehouse, especially when your business is a fast-growing business?
Uh, Honestly, there is no one correct answer. There is neither you should own it, neither you should lease it. It will depend on the decision to own or lease a warehouse it basically hinges on a few factors. So factor number one is your growth pattern. You mentioned a fast growing business, but what is the pattern? Is it growing now, and is it expected to grow over a long period of time? If your growth pattern is volatile or if it is unpredictable, then lease is the option, because you won't know how much growth or where you will be in the next 5-7 years. Then lease is a model. If you have a stable long-term growth plan of 10 plus years, then you should definitely think of owning your own warehouse or your own factory. Uh, what is the financial strategy? What is the strategy of an MSME? Many MSMEs operate on a very low capex model and a very high opex model. Some MSMEs own on a very high capex model and a low opex model. At the same time, it again is linked to your growth pattern also. So if you have a business potential for the next 10 years plus, if you have steady orders from MSMEs and you see a growth in that, then with that horizon, it is safe to invest, it is safe to buy. If that is not the case, then lease. Operational flexibility, that is also a factor which will contribute to whether you will decide to purchase or to lease. So how is it? I mean, is your business cyclical in terms of as a potential for exponential growth, or is it cyclical? There is a big up, there is a big down. If that is the case, if you buy your own space, you may be stuck with excess space which you don't require, or you may be stuck with less space where you will end up leasing more from outside. So in such a business, so if you want operational flexibility, leasing will give you that, because with leasing you can lease it for as low as 3 years. So you can scale up or scale down. If you feel next 2 years are not great, not the order books are not looking good, you can reduce your space size. If you see your order books are filling up very fast, you can increase your space size. The leasing model will give you that flexibility which an ownership model will not give you. And again, if your business needs any heavy equipment, heavy specialized machinery to be installed in your warehouse, well, then if you go for leasing a warehouse with such enhancements, especially for chemical industries which come with EHS enhancements, or you need an overhead crane, or you need some specialized floor coating on your flooring, something like that. If you lease a warehouse with such enhancements, it's going to be very expensive. So in such a scenario, it is always better to own, convert it into capex. And I think the last point would be market conditions. The way the real estate prices are moving, buying land and locking your capital in places like Mumbai or Delhi, NCR region or Bangalore, it will eat up or rather it will block a huge chunk of your capital. So in such places, it is always advisable to go for a lease model, though the leases are also equally high in such areas, but it is your operational expense and you will incur that as and when you require it. You can invest or you can own places in upcoming areas, upcoming hub or upcoming industrial hubs. You can buy those places pretty cheap for now if you have a growth plan where you want to increase your footprint. So you buy in those places and lease in places which are very fun. So like I said, there is no one answer to this. It will depend on various scenarios, and I just listed them. So each MSME owner or management should take a call according to their respective requirements.
Now tell us, in your opinion, do you think better warehousing can directly improve delivery timelines and customer satisfaction?
Absolutely yes. Not indirectly, it improves it directly. Better warehousing directly improves delivery timelines. In fact, I would say better warehousing is the hidden engine behind fast and predictable deliveries. Absolutely yes. The answer to your question is absolutely yes. How this happens is, again, you have good processes. When I say better warehousing, I mean your warehouse is digitalized, it has got steady processes, it has got all the requirements of being a good effective warehouse. It means you inward your goods faster. It means faster inventories available to your sales teams. It means faster dispatches. It means fewer delays. It means happy customers. It's a direct impact. A better warehousing will reduce the errors. That means you have got lower cost of returns and replenishment. It will also mean, again, happy customers. Modern warehouses will use technologies, and the customers, they give you better visibility. The customers get visibility. Many times when you place an order, there are some platforms which say, okay, your order has been picked from the warehouse. Okay, then next alert you get is your order has been dispatched from the warehouse. Now it has come to warehouse B. This is the kind of visibility that is available only in warehouses. The archaic warehouses will not give you this kind of visibility. So it brings in, I would say, better customer satisfaction, you can say, or trust. Customer knows how your goods are moving. Better warehouses will give you predictability. I can give you our example in terms of we buy our PPs from two vendors, vendor A and vendor B. Whenever we place order with one vendor, A, we always get a material in 4 days, and the vendor B is very erratic. It is sometimes 4 days, it is sometimes 15 days. So being in this industry, we know my vendor A has got a better grip on his warehousing and his logistics and distribution. So that is how you become predictable. So we know when we place an order, we are going to get our goods on the 4th day. So this predictability, increases reliability, and that increases the customer trust. So I would say in summary, better warehousing has a direct measurable impact on your customer satisfaction. Better warehousing.
Now, a common mistake that most MSMEs make is overstocking of slow-moving goods. Can you tell us how can they avoid that?
First principle is, I have seen in my experience, people giving equal importance to every part in your warehouse. So the first mantra I would say, or the first rule here is, focus on what matters to you. See, not everything in the warehouse needs the same attention. And then you can have some ABC or XYZ analysis of your inventory. So ABC basically is a value-based analysis, and XYZ is a demand-based analysis. So you categorize the goods or your material in your warehouse in such a way that you can focus on your A category parts or your X category parts, and then when you focus on that, it will automatically help you not overstock in a certain way. You should also have some system-driven controls or triggers to avoid overstocking. So I see. So when you cross the threshold, a certain threshold of your stock, it should give you an automated trigger, and if possible, if your system allows it, it should log the further POs for it. That is the way, because MSMEs often overstock because the purchase decisions are sometimes based on gut feelings, or many times it is based on historical buying habits. The purchase officer is used to placing an order for XYZ parts every 3 months. So let's not, without depending on that, with a trigger. And of course, there can be a low stock trigger also. So when the system alarms you, gives you an alarm for a low stock, that is when it should be ordered. One more way of preventing overstocking is reduce the lot size of purchases. So by that way, your material will come in smaller lots. And one more very important thing is to strengthen the coordination between your sales and purchase teams. One simple example here would be there is the sales for the product of a particular product, or one of your products has gone down for whatever reason for the last 3 months, and the sales team knows this, and they know. But a purchase team will basically issue purchase orders for the parts used in that product based on historical data of say 24 months or more, which will not accurately reflect the drop in the demand for your product. So this coordination needs to be strengthened, where the sales team can say, yes, you have a historical data of 2 years, but this product is not doing well, so don't buy the parts needed for this product. For now, just go slow on it. So this is one very nice way of reducing the overstocks. And one last, again, at the cost of repetition, have a basic WMS, have a system which will give you a visibility on your inventory. Because how would you know you're overstocking something unless you run out of space, or unless it tells you in your annual inventory throughout the year? How would you know it? So invest in a basic WMS or some digital tools which will give you alerts, which will give you some visibility on an inventory. And all these steps taken together, I think, should really help you to prevent overstocking completely.
Now, Harshad, when we speak about audits or inspections, according to you, what tools should MSMEs, sort of have in their companies, or tools or checklists rather, that can help them manage the warehouse better?
It is very similar to the checklist that a warehouse manager would typically have. We talked about non-negotiable daily checklists. Here there are the tools. If you say the tools will come from your existing WMS or your digital platform, whatever you are in, they will give you a reminder periodically as you set your requirements, and they will give you a printed checklist of these are the things you have to check every day. These are the things you have to check every week, and there are some things that you need to check every quarter. So what happens is basically the must have and the first item in any audit and inspection is safety. This is any auditor comes in and sees if the warehouse is a safe place to work in. So you should have the related checklist for that. And once you do that on a regular basis, so basically safety, fire compliances, you have your checklists in place. And once those things are being checked on a regular basis, then it is very easy to pass that inspection because that's the first item. Now, again, second item which an auditor, I have faced hundreds of audits till now, and the second thing an auditor like mostly gives a failure or some NCs or some remarks is related to poor housekeeping and visual management. So your 5S checklist should help there. You should have tools and you should have checklists to ensure that the housekeeping 5S in your warehouse is properly updated on a scheduled basis. You can have a daily checklist, or if it is not a requirement, you can have a weekly checklist. So at the time of your audit, your checklists are ready, your people are aware, and then the warehouse is nice, spick and span, and that is one failure area which we can immediately rectify by having a proper 5S and housekeeping done. Now your inventory checklists also have to be there because an auditor will always in a warehouse audit the inventory. He will pick up random parts and he'll check what is the inventory in the plant. So your inventory checklist should be regular. You should be regular in updating them. Of course, inventory tools are a big feature in any WMS. So they will help you to check whether your inventory is updated and all that. And of course, there are your MHE checklists. If there is your warehouse is MHE heavy, auditor will move towards MHE, see if the preventive maintenance have been done, if it is being, if the MCs are in place, if the load certificates are in place. All these you should have ready. And I think you should have your HR and training checklist too. Your HR, that is your induction records, your on-job training records, and I think your, I would say, the licenses, the MHE licenses are also very important because it's a compliance topic. Then training records, which when asked by the auditor, if they are produced in a very nice and organized manner, the auditor is bound to pass that inspection like immediately with flying colors. And lastly, I think one more thing that needs to be maintained is your document and master checklist. So the SOPs, how and when have they been updated? So the updated SOP records are there. The risk assessments and CAPA reports in case of NCs which happen in regular operations. How are they being addressed and how are the preventive actions being recorded? Those records, near miss or safety incidents, maintenance contracts, if they are all there. So if it is an objective to meet any inspection or audit or to pass it, these are the checklists and records that you will need to maintain throughout the year on a regular basis. Not necessarily everything has to be daily, but you should set a schedule for each of them and they should be checked as per their schedule.
Understood. Now, how should smaller businesses plan for seasonal demand or project-based spikes in inventory flow?
Smaller businesses, seasonal demand is a big stress area because again, so the first way to plan for seasonal demand or project big spikes is forecasting. Forecasting is the one and the most important tool. You should study your demand in the last couple of seasons. If you are in a seasonal business, that is how it is going to happen every year. So you forecast based on what your demand pattern was in the last few 2 or 3 years, and and then you can stock in or stock out accordingly. So forecasting is one. Second is have a ABC or XYZ inventory analysis, so you are not too high on any stock or too low on any particular stock, especially the impact stocks. I would say the impact stocks are your high value stocks, which will create a big impact if you have too much of them, or if it will create a big impact if you have an order and you don't have any of those parts in there. So use your inventory techniques of ABC or XYZ. Then, pre-plan based on forecasting, pre-plan for some temporary storage and some temporary workers. So if you're in a business which is booming in April, May, and June, so prior to that, ensure that you have enough space. You have some temporary space created in March itself with some workers who are trained to handle your products. And one more way I would say is to improve your supplier coordination, because suppliers will typically expect you to place orders throughout the year, but improving that relationship with them, telling them, "We see, brother, my business is cyclical, so I am going to place orders from Feb to Jan to March, and then there are not going to be any orders for the next 6 months, and then again I will be heavy on orders in the later part of the year." Once a supplier understands your requirements, understand your business, he will also, or he can manage his parts and supply them to you accordingly. So these are some of the ways I would say that small businesses or MSMEs should plan for the seasonal demands, project big spikes. Again, projects are something in the pipeline. Coordination with your sales teams. What is in the pipe, what is expected to come. There has to be some sort of an engagement with these cross-functional teams, so that you are in a better position to be ready as and when that project demand comes in. Typically, if you are MSME and you are dependent on, say, government contracts, there's a period when government contracts are opened. That schedule. The schedule is known to all the government suppliers, for example. So they know, okay, we may end up getting this contract. We have a good chance of getting this contract in June. So that is how you plan for it. Now, you can't just wake up and say, once you get the contract, oh my God, what am I going to do about it? That can't happen.
Harshad, you mentioned about barcoding or QR-based systems in your initial couple of responses. Can you shed some light on the role of these systems in improving warehouse transparency?
These systems in improving warehouse transparency. Okay. So basically, what I meant is like a barcode, QR code is, what is it? It is a digital identity for every item or every pallet or every on which it is stuck. So that is your identity. That's the name of that part or that bin or that location. And when they're scanned, each movement is recorded, I would say, instantly and accurately. And this is how do they help in your question was to improve warehouse transparency, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so they basically improve transparency. Then barcodes and QR codes will basically transform the warehouse operations. Now, how? One is you get a real-time inventory visibility. So once it is scanned, and once you have the WMS or the system or a platform to read it, stock is updated instantly. It is updated without any errors, and the exact stock levels in real time without needing any complex calculation. Tallying the inbound, outbound dispatch registers and your files. Nothing. You get it in real time. You bin a stock, it is there in your inventory. You pick a stock and you scan it, it has gone out of your inventory. It happens in real time. It can't go wrong. So it will give you a lot of accuracy also. If you scan, that transaction is not going to go wrong. So it will give you a lot of transparency and accuracy. It will give you traceability, end-to-end traceability, because once you bring in the scan, the barcodes and the scanners with it, who handled an item, where it was moved, when it was moved, how long it was stored. So each traceability helps, especially in root cause analysis when something goes wrong. This traceability is very important. It improves the speed of the transaction, because reading a part numbers, if the part numbers are very long, it will take time. Entering them in the system will take time. Scanning will help you eliminate both these processes. So it improves your speed and efficiency. And it overall increases the hygiene of the whole place, the system hygiene, as we call it, or the warehouse hygiene. There are no errors, there are no duplicates, there is full transparency. There is transparency for the customers also, there is transparency for the management. So this is how it enhances, a barcoding system will completely transform a warehouse and, make the processes become really transparent.
Now tell us, Harshad, what role do safety training and compliance play in warehouse operations, and how can MSMEs manage this without a big budget?
safety trainings and compliances are the pillars on which a warehouse operations will stand on. It is non-negotiable because, of course, I don't need to explain why. So safety training and compliance. So when we are talking about MSMEs, or I would say, I would answer this question with the view that you don't have unlimited budgets for it, because the way, the more you do it, the sky is the limit for it. So I would say MSMEs on a tight budget, but they can definitely be compliant. They can definitely have safety processes in place, even without spending a huge amount of them. How? One is we can make use of government resources. There are many such resources available. A few come to my mind. One is the Directorate of Industrial Safety and Health. They've got a lot of training programs lined up throughout the year. So MSMEs can make use of those programs, either send their representatives or bring in the representatives of DISH for inspection and training at our warehouse. There is the MSME Development Institute. So they are also engaged in similar activity. There is the NSDC Skill Development Institute. They are also involved in imparting skills to their apprentices, because we can see what suitable program we have, and this comes with absolutely negligible cost. I would say zero cost. So this is one more is making use of online platforms. YouTube is a treasure trove of training videos. Just a simple monitor, play a YouTube video. There is training videos on MHEs, OSHAs, Bosch, handling, behavior, social skills, everything, you name it, it is there. It is absolutely free of cost. So that is one more safety. Safety related. I would say there are not less than 5 million videos on YouTube. You name it, it is there. So that is a free source for you. Then that is how you leverage all these online. Then there are some websites which will give you online training at very nominal charges also. So not necessarily everything comes from YouTube. There are some training and compliance websites which will help you. You can have an online webinar kind of a thing where the trainer will be online and you can just have to display it on a monitor in your warehouse. One more way is to, because safety trainings are a compliance requirement also. You need to have 2 trainings every year. Then you need to have first aid trainings. Then you need to have a lot of other compliance. So what you can do is you can appoint an in-house safety officer. And even better solution is what you can do is you can train one of your senior people in the safety compliances processes. You can give him a certified training, sponsor a certified training course, which is a one-time cost for you. And then that person can train your teams. As and when they come, they can have scheduled trainings, they can have scheduled workshops. And you don't have to call in a safety trainer every few months. That will save a whole lot of money. So this is how I would suggest MSMEs to leverage all these possibilities, but still have a very good safety culture in their warehouse without compromising on that.
Got it. Harshad, have you seen any warehouses being redesigned as a multi-purpose or multi-use space, like for light assembly or repair work, or is that a viable model?
Oh yes, it is absolutely. Warehouses have now become hybrid spaces. It's no longer a place where you just store goods. They are hybrid and multi-use, and this is absolutely a trend since 25-26. It is becoming not fashionable, I wouldn't say it is, but it is the in thing to do now. Multi-use warehouses, multifunctional warehouses. Everything is becoming multifunctional, so are warehouses. And if done properly, yes, it is a very viable model. It is an extremely viable model, and there is a strong shift towards warehouses functioning, I would say, as for light assembly, for value-added services, for repairs. I quoted an example where we are doing repairs in one of our warehouses in Gujarat. So for repairs, kitting, configuring. How is it a viable model? I would say, see, first of all, the cost. If you have space in your warehouse, why go for some other activity in some other place, or why engage that? You do it in your warehouse. So you're using every square foot. So it is a cost viability point. Very, very good for the management. And the customer demand for faster customization, I would say. Customer demands everything to be done in like real absolute fast. You send back something, you send back something to the factory or to the company for repairs, you expect it to be, you get it in like 2 days, 3 days flat. So this demand for faster customization, so because they're not willing to wait for long, a warehouse can act as a place to do this repairs, modifications, customizations, kitting, enhancements, and ship it out back immediately. So that helps with the customer demand also. And value-added services are becoming mainstream. It's no longer an era where you say, okay, you do this, fine, keep doing this. So you have to keep implementing, adapting. So value-added services are becoming mainstream. So in fact, we, even in KGC, our warehouses, we do kitting, we do assembly, we do small assemblies in our warehouses and dispatch to customers. So yes, it is, hybrid warehouses are completely the trend in since last year. And yes, it is a very valuable model. People, MSME should actively look into this. Should look into it.
Now, Harshad, to wrap things up, if you had to give MSMEs one piece of advice to make their warehouse a growth enabler, what would that be?
Just one.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I think that has been the trend since one thing that has kept repeating in most of my answers or in most of our discussion was standardization of processes. So my advice to MSMEs would be, if you want to make your warehouse as an enabler, as a strategic place of business, I think you should standardize your warehouse process. Even if your business is small, it is irrespective of size. You should never say, it's a small setup, I don't need standardization, I'll do it when I need it. No. Because, standardization is the foundation which makes every improvement possible. So my piece of advice would be, go for standardization, go for standard operating processes for all your activities, go for your daily checklist, identify the checklist, do it diligently on a daily basis. Go for proper 5S and housekeeping standards, have a good training calendar for your teams, have a very basic, I would say, a digital platform or a WMS or even basic Excel tools for your warehouse. So go for standardization is my advice to the MSMEs, because, I would just conclude by saying that standard warehouse is a scalable warehouse, and only a scalable warehouse will build a scalable business.
With that, we've come to the end of today's episode. Harshad, thank you so much for coming back on our MSME Masterclass and being it's actually been such an honor to host you again and to get your insights on such a critical and important topic for our MSME audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thanks for your time.
For our MSMEs who are online, if you'd like to view the current episode, if you've missed any part of the current episode, please go on YouTube, type GSW1 MSME and find all our episodes there. Thank you once again, Harshad. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.